What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Common Sense Garage, where we've been making you look smarter since 2020. Stick around, you don't want to miss this. Coming up next is, in this episode of Common Sense Garage, we're going to be doing a series coming up about how to convert a 1983 Honda CB650SC Nighthawk into a cafe, brat, flat tracker, whatever you want to call it. I've got a customer who's wanted me to do this. I've had this thing in the shop forever, and it's time for this project to get finished. So I've got to bring you along so that I can get this project completed, because you guys and the content that I've been creating up to this point have all kind of put a dampener on what I'm doing here. So I'm glad I was able to bring you along here, and hopefully you enjoy it. But this is part one in the series. Hopefully there'll be a lot more in the future, but we'll see what happens. So stick around, you don't want to miss it. So as you guys have seen before, we're back here in the original, not necessarily the OG, because the OG was at another location, which we still have, but this is my OG original location for Britt's Customs and for Common Sense Garage. We're here at Pop's shop, and yeah, let's take you a little bit of a tour so you can see what I've got so far. Hopefully I'll have already shown you what this thing looked like whenever I got it. It was in 2 totes worth of parts and a couple boxes. It was a rolling chassis with an engine on it, and I've already managed to pull the engine off. Got the chassis all sandblasted, all the powder coat off of it, and yeah, I think you're gonna like what this thing looks like. So it's not a standard cafe racer, it's not a standard brat, it's mine and the customer's take on what that means. So if you don't like it, well, as long as he does, I do care what you think, but at the same time, it's not yours, you're not paying me for it, so he's getting whatever he wants, right? So here it is. Let's take a look at it and see what you guys think. So this is what I've got right now. Like I said, it's a stripped down frame. The tank I've already actually painted one time before, but I'm going to be painting it again. The frame has actually been painted one time before as well, but I had to sandblast it all back down, and as you can see, we actually extended the actual frame here, and incorporated a light on the back end. You know, I've already done the wheels and tires on it, painted those, epoxied those, and yeah, so like I said, all of this stuff over in this area is all the parts left over for this thing. As you can see, I've already done the front forks, got the calipers all painted up, tires already painted up. This thing has been sitting in this shop for, golly, I'm going to say at least 4 years now, 5 years, maybe even longer than that. And every time I get ready to start it or finish it, something else always seems to come up. And like I said, this YouTube thing that I've created here has kind of come along the same way, and I don't want it to be that way. So like I said, oh yeah, and here's a whole bunch of parts, as you can see on the table, whatnot. But so the next couple of episodes, hopefully coming up into this will be coming up into Thanksgiving 2020. Oh God, man, what 2020 has been this year has been just insane. So hopefully we can get this thing finished and roll out of 2020 into 2021 with this thing finished on the road and actually running, driving, riding back to the customer. That would be so cool. That would be so awesome. And like I said, I'm glad I've got you guys around, hanging around to show it with, to share it with, show it, share it, whatever, you know, all those good things. So like I said, we're going to be working on it. We're going to be painting the frame. I've still got some stuff that I need to take care of as far as finishing up on the frame itself before it can be painted. And then we're going to paint the frame. I got to paint the tank. I got to fabricate some fenders for it. Oh man, I've even got to put the wiring harness, figure it out, get it all put together, and we're wanting to put some pretty cool stuff on this thing. So hopefully it'll look pretty rad by the time it gets through. I don't know. Hopefully he'll like it. I'm sure he's watching along with you guys as we're doing this thing. But so I'm gonna set you guys up so that you guys can see. Maybe I'll do some talking overlay once everything's said and done. But right now, I just got to get to work on this thing. And I love you guys, but this is paying the bills right now. So I got to make sure that I get you guys in the action, as close to the action as I can without messing up my camera and equipment. And so speaking of camera, speaking of equipment, there should be links down below. They are affiliate links. And if you want to help support the channel, great. Thanks for that. A big thumbs up for that one. And I really appreciate all the support and love that I've gotten so far on this channel. You guys have really made it very easy for me to continue doing this. But so anyhow, I'm going to set you guys up, and I'm going to finish putting some filler on this rear hoop and trying to get it smooth, sanded smooth, and get it down to where it needs to be. And yeah, then maybe we can get this thing in paint on this episode. Maybe? No, probably not going to happen, but maybe on the next episode you'll see me painting it. So we'll see what happens, but let's get you set up so you can watch. So you guys have to forgive the mess here in the shop, but you know, whenever you work all day and you get here to the shop to start working on something else, it's a little hard sometimes to get everything completely clean. But first things first, I'm gonna move some of this stuff out of the way. So the old seat, you'll see it later on, hopefully recovering it, restructuring it. Some old side panels from it, like I said, Nighthawk 650, original side panels. If you know anybody that needs some, hit me up, because I have some parts that we're not going to be using back on this thing. And so what I've done is I have made a little cover, taillight cover that goes on the back of this thing. Like I said, I've been building this section here up, and you can see that I have my cutout here for my tail light to go in. I've welded some clips on so that they slide down into the pipe, and once they slide down, I'm just trying to make sure that this seam that is right here is as seamless as possible, and make sure that it's nice, smooth, and round before I get to painting it. I have already filled these portions here where I welded on, because it actually goes from a thicker tube down to the frame tube, and so far it looks pretty good. I mean, you know, it's not the best, but paint and body work will cover a multitude of sins whenever it comes to this stuff. So I'm gonna mix up some filler. So we'll let this dry just a little bit, just so you can see what it looks like. Let it dry just enough. And like I said, all I did was I just kind of smeared it all over everything, and then I'll come back and I'll cut the exact line that I want in this, so that way both halves will meet up and it should be perfect. I can sand it and bevel it just a little bit, kind of make it look a little bit neater than what it did before. You can see the slot that's cut here, so the tail light will be actually behind this, shining through, and then yeah, like I said, it'll be super bright once it's wired up, so that anybody that's passing by or happens to be behind the guy will be able to see it. So that's the main thing we want, is safety for him and whoever he's riding with or riding on the back of it. Alright guys, this thing is pretty well cured, but we're just going to sand it and see if we can get a rough shape out of it. So you always want to keep in mind that whenever you're sanding, especially if you're doing it for body work or whatever the case may be, you always want to use something as flat as possible so that you don't have any dips or ripples or anything. So for me, that means using whatever I have at my disposal, which just so happens to be a broken paint stick. It's pretty well square and flat. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around it, and now I can sand, and everywhere that I sand should be flat and even. As you're sanding, you want to make sure that you don't stay in one spot too long, because if you do, you'll cause a flat spot to occur on the piece that you're sanding on. So as you can see, I'm actually moving around, not staying in one spot too long. Like your sandpaper's wore out, you can always flip it around to a brand new side. This particular piece, there are a lot of complex curves, different areas that can be kind of time consuming, so I'm not going to bore you with a lot of it, but I'm not going to talk through a lot of it. Okay, so let's see if I can get you guys a little bit closer so I can show you what it looks like now that it's done sanded. And so alright, so you see how this part right in here is a lighter color than this line right here? That generally means that this is a low point. Where it's kind of pastel, a little bit faded, that's where the sandpaper was able to hit it. That's where the sandpaper was able to hit it, and the line down here is where it was not. So that means that it's low. So we still need to continue to fill this so that we can get this line all the way across to be perfect and to get where we can cut our line into it. So got to do another layer of glazing compound or final feather finisher on it to get this to lay down and get it to be slick. Alright guys, so hope you enjoyed this episode of Common Sense Garage. This is the first installment of this series of the Britt Brat is what we're calling it. So stick around. Hopefully these different parts of this series will actually help you out if you want to custom make anything as far as that goes, because the same principles apply to a car as they do for a motorcycle. So you just have to figure out a design idea in your head and then get it down on the paper, and once you got it on paper, then you can kind of start cutting and piecing together and making things work the way that you want them to work. So here's the lasting shot for this particular piece tonight. I ended up taking a piece of plastic and draping over the lower half of the frame and taking the upper piece for the cap and just spreading some filler on it to try and get that nice smooth line, because I got a semi-smooth line all the way around, but whenever I started pulling it apart and sanding it, it started to flake off a little bit. Part of that is because the filler is so thin and it's on edge, and there's so many things that reasons why this shouldn't work, but I'm trying to make it work and make it look professional enough to where we don't have to worry about it breaking off. Hopefully it'll work. I don't know if it will or not. I'm still kind of questioning it myself, but you guys are getting to see it firsthand and to see how I handled those issues and those problems. And so tonight I'm going to leave you, like I said, letting this last batch of filler dry on this thing, and hopefully whenever I pull it off, the filler will not stick to the plastic, and therefore it will give me a nice smooth seamless line all the way around. If not, no harm, no foul. We can sand it all back down. All it takes is time, right? And even though I may not have that much time on this particular project, it is what it is. You know, anytime you get into custom work like this, you end up running into a lot of time and a lot of money usually. But I'm trying to get the customer out as cheaply as I can and as efficiently as I can, considering I've already had his bike here for almost 5 years now. I want to get it out the door. I need the space in here for other projects that I have, and right now this one's taking up the majority of the room. So thanks for watching. We love you. Appreciate all your comments. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good jargon down. You know, leave a comment down below. All of that good stuff that YouTube wants to see. I really do appreciate you guys as much as you don't know it, because you make this a fun and enjoyable task for me. And yeah, so hopefully this has given you some benefit tonight, and if so, I hope to see you on the next episode of Common Sense Garage. So until then, stay safe out there, guys. We love you.